Recently, water supply to India's capital city, New Delhi, was impacted. Many parts had no water. The water board cut the supply due to high levels of ammonia. They say that the supply was contaminated in the neighboring state of Haryana. Globally, 1.1 billion people lack access to clean water. Nearly 2.7 billion experience water scarcity at least 1 month in a year. Water impacts the very existence of human beings, affecting hygiene, food, and their sustenance. It impacts the financial well being of any economy and rapidly impacts the health of human beings through waterborne illness. India is facing one of the worst water crises in its history. At many places, underground water has been so aggressively pumped that the supply and health has been negatively impacted. Around 2 lakh Indians die every year because they have no access to clean water. Many end up relying on private water suppliers. Winding queues of people waiting to collect water from tankers or public tap is a common sight in Indian slums. The Bureau of Indian Standard releases data that signals the tap water quality of every city in India. According to the 2019 BIS report, Delhi has ranked at the bottom of the list among 13 Indian cities. The study had gone on to assert that tap water in Delhi failed in 19 out of 28 parameters concerned. According to the National Statistical Office, 2019 revealed that 36.5% of households in Delhi depended on purifiers to treat drinking water, followed by another 14% who depended on bottled water. At the current consumption rate, this situation will only get worse. By 2025, 2/3 of the world population may face water shortages, and ecosystems around the world will suffer even more. It is high time that Indian government strategizes and has a clear roadmap. The education of the population will also be its responsibility so that the people use water judiciously. It is only then that India stands a chance of a healthy existence. Bureau Report, Democracy News Live, New Delhi.
Good evening, and I'm Rohit Gandhi. You're welcome to Democracy News Live and our show It Matters. Today, we're discussing something that matters to all of humanity and specifically India today. We're discussing the crises of water in India. India, the large part of the population still doesn't have access to clean water. The ones which have access, sometimes it's intermittent. It impacts their livelihood, it impacts their health, it impacts the situation they're in. And that's something to worry about. If you have 1.38 billion people, and even if 1/3 of them are impacted by lack of quality water or access to constant water, it changes the way they live. We are here to discuss this. We brought in 3 panelists today. Meena Narula, she works for an NGO called Water for People, and they do tremendous amount of work in different parts of the country. Also joining us today is Raman Kantyagi. He's the founder of NEER Foundation. He initiated his work towards water conservation in 2004, and he works on river protection, and he specifically works in Western UP, where he's been working on pollution. Also joining us is Tarun Nanda. Tarun Nanda is a civil and environmental engineer from the UK. He returned about 10 years ago to begin working on building a better India. He works in the areas of revival of wetlands, and obviously he's worked around sewage treatment and things things to that effect, and especially with the informal communities and lake revivals. Let me start this with Meena. Meena, would you give us a sense of how challenged is India's water supply, and especially in the places that you work? You work in rural India a lot.
Yeah, Rohit, thank you for having me here. And, in my capacity of being a senior development professional across many organizations, one has had an opportunity to work across various, parts of rural India with different challenges of water, ranging from, water scarcity to quality of water. And also, simply the behaviors that people adopt towards water as a resource. So, just to give an overall picture across the country, 45% of the total population in India faces water stress. And it is estimated that about 40% of people in India would have absolutely no access to water by 2030. And so that's the magnitude of the problem. And we often say that nature's daughter, but women traverse about 8,700 miles every day in India to be able to fetch water, carrying about 88 pounds on their head every single day to meet the daily water needs. So this is the magnitude of problem that we are dealing with in India. Surely, focusing on the access to this basic resource for an improved quality of life of people.
So, what we also realize is how badly does water get polluted, and as even though there is very little water to use from, when the water supply gets polluted, it impacts our health tremendously. Just recently, as we heard in the story, Delhi, India's capital's water supply was disrupted because of ammonia in the water. Uh, and it happened on the edge of Haryana, which is a state right next to it, Delhi. UP also is where, adjoining, and NEER works around that area. And what they said was ammonia had been mixed, the levels were too high, unsafe for human consumption. Now, will you explain to me, Raman, how does this water supply get affected as Ganga and Yamuna come up from the north? What happens here that there is that the quality of water drops, so there pollutants enter the water?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि इसमें अगर ये एक बेसिक थोड़ी सी समस्या है, क्योंकि पानी जहाँ लोगों ने रहना शुरू किया है या लोग जहाँ रहते हैं वहाँ अगर नहीं है, एक तो पानी खत्म हो गया धीरे धीरे, तो दूसरा कारण है कि वहाँ पोल्यूशन हो गया है, तो वहाँ पानी पीने का साफ नहीं है। तो अगर उसको हम दूसरी जगह से ला रहे हैं तो उसके सोर्स होंगे, या तो ग्राउंड वाटर हम ला रहे हैं, या किसी नहर से ला रहे हैं, या किसी नदी से ला रहे हैं। तो जो छोटी नदियां हैं जिनसे हम ला रहे हैं, गंगा एक बड़ी नदी है जिससे हम पानी की बहुत ज्यादा सप्लाई करते हैं। आप देखेंगे दिल्ली में जो सोनिया विहार वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट है, उसके लिए पानी पूरा गंगा नहर का आता है, और स्थित है कि अगर उस गंगा नहर का पानी दिल्ली ना आए तो दिल्ली प्यासी मर जाएगी, क्योंकि दिल्ली के पास अपना पानी नहीं है। तो ऐसा हुआ भी था अभी पिछले दिनों जब जाट आंदोलन हुआ था, तो जाटों ने सोनिया विहार वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट की जो सप्लाई है मुरादनगर में, वहां उसको बंद कर दिया गया था। तो समस्या ये नहीं कि हम सप्लाई क्या कर रहे हैं, कहाँ से कर रहे हैं। देखिए, अगर हमारी नदियां पोल्यूटेड हैं तो सप्लाई पोल्यूशन की ही होगी, वो पानी पोल्यूटेड ही जाएगा। मैं आपको छोटा सा उदाहरण एक बता रहा हूँ। एक हिंडन नदी है जो सहारनपुर से आती है और गौतम बुद्ध नगर में जाके यमुना में मिलती है। उसमें यमुना कैनाल को पानी देने के लिए मेरठ में एक जानी एस्केप से 2000 क्यूसेक पानी डाला जाता है, और उस पानी को मोहन नगर से डाइवर्ट करके कालिंदी कुंज ले जाया जाता है कैनाल के द्वारा। आपने वो कैनाल देखी हो। लेकिन जो जानी एस्केप से पानी डाला जा रहा है वो बिल्कुल साफ पानी है, नहर का पानी है, लेकिन वो मोहन नगर तक आते आते बिल्कुल काला हो जाता है और पोल्यूटेड हो जाता है। और इसीलिए मोहन नगर से उसको उस पूरे पानी को निकाल करके कालिंदी कुंज भेज दिया जाता है यमुना में। और आप देखें कालिंदी कुंज में ऑलरेडी दिल्ली का पूरा सीवरेज है, तो फिर वहां से कैनाल गई है आगरा के लिए, और उस कैनाल में वही 2000 क्यूसेक पानी वहां से निकाला जाता है, और कैनाल को देने के लिए जानी एस्केप से पानी डाला गया था साफ, लेकिन उस कैनाल को दिया जा रहा है दिल्ली का सीवरेज। तो ये एक बड़ा कंट्रडिक्शन है कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं। आप देखिए, जो वो पानी जा रहा है उसमें आप सब्जियां भी वहां धोते हैं, वहां से पानी सप्लाई भी होता है, लेकिन क्या हमारे पास ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी है अभी जो इतनी उसको प्योर कर सके पानी को? अभी आप अमोनिया की बात कर रहे हैं। मेरे लिए बड़ा शौक है कि अगर ऐसा पानी सप्लाई हो रहा है तो पानी हमें देखिए उसका सोल्यूशन वहीं खोजना पड़ेगा हमें। मेरा तो एक उस पर अध्ययन है कि अगर ऐसे ही शहर बढ़ते रहे दिल्ली जैसे, तो बड़ी मुश्किल होने वाली है आने वाले दशक में। पानी हम दूर से नहीं ला सकते। सरकार भी बात कर रही है कि हर घर को नल से जल, लेकिन जब स्थानीय स्तर पे जहाँ वो रहता है वहाँ पानी नहीं है, तो अब कहाँ से पानी लाएंगे? अगर दूसरी जगह से लाएंगे तो वहाँ का पानी खत्म हो जाएगा, फिर वो लोग परेशान होंगे। तो एक बड़ी समस्या है।
रमन इज मेकिंग अ वेरी गुड पॉइंट। जो आप बोल रहे हैं बहुत जरूरी और आवश्यक चीज पे आप हाईलाइट कर रहे हैं। पानी जब निकलता है और डिलीवर करने के लिए निकलता है, वहां से ऑन द वे इतनी पोल्यूशन होती है। मैं रमन से पहले बात कर रहा था, बता रहे थे कि छोटी छोटी फैक्ट्रियां आ गई हैं, पोल्यूशन लेवल्स बिल्कुल नहीं सोचती, उनको समझ नहीं है। और गवर्नमेंट ऑब्वियसली इतनी करप्ट है कि जब वो पोल्यूट करती हैं उन नदियों को, उनसे जाके पैसे ले लेते हैं ऑफिशियल्स और आराम से जाके घर पे बैठ जाते हैं। ये रियलाइज नहीं करते कि यही गंदा पानी, पोल्यूटेड पानी उन्हीं के फैमिली मेंबर्स पिएंगे और बीमार होंगे। उनके समझ से बात बाहर है। जब तक उनकी जेब में पैसे आ गए, when they are corrupt, they'll take the money and they don't really care what happens in the end. It may be impacting their own family members. These rivers are completely polluted. He's describing the Hindon River, and we will certainly, show you images of the Hindon River. It is entirely polluted. It's black. It's sewage. It's not water in any way. And when they take all of this water and then dump it in the Yamuna at Kalindi Kunj, which he's describing, what you have there is a bunch of pollution. All of this water goes into the water table, pollutes the water table and causes diseases like cancer and all other, dermatitis. It's surprising that the level of understanding of the population is so low, and beyond that of the officials, how corrupt they are in terms of trying to fix this. So I think these are issues that they must be addressed properly. These foundations and NGOs work around the idea, but that's not the only solution. They're going to help you make it slightly better, but that's not the way forward. Now, let me bring in Tarun here. Tarun, you work around water bodies, you work on the issues of, working on floating wetlands, sewage treatment. Explain to me, why is this such a big challenge? Why does, the capital of India dump its sewage right into the Yamuna, and there is nobody monitoring it? Nobody is responsible for it. I have not seen one, district commissioner in jail so far for having done this.
One issue is the fact that there's no real standard technology solution for this. So really what India needs is innovation, but the government doesn't really have any means to support innovation or to even fund it. So what happens is, if you want to do something new and want to solve these problems, you have to get the funding yourself and just get the permission from the government. And actually, because once you start innovating and bringing in these solutions, government consultants, they start following the same methods, and then the government does their government projects and they start to do the same thing that the private sector's done or demonstrates to work. So that's what we've seen with water body revivals, that now the authorities have also started to use the same model of constructed wetlands and floating wetlands for lake revival. So that's basically.
Tell me one of your stories which will actually tell people on what you did and how it succeeded. Give us a little example of what you did.
So, I've been here now almost 10 years, and about 8 years ago, we started working with a local NGO to do the first lake revival in Delhi with constructed and floating wetlands. Because I think it's always been a problem that sewage has flown into lakes, ponds, and there was no real solution for it. And lots of people were talking about using wetlands or doing something to try and keep the lakes clean. So we said, okay, let's just do it. And so we did the first one. We made a constructed wetland to filter all the sewage from a slum before it went into a pond. We used these floating wetlands inside the pond itself.
Where is this?
This was in Rangpuri Pahari in Vasant Kunj. And unfortunately, they got moved away a few months after we made it. Then they got moved off the land, moved back. But it was long enough for it to be operational and to demonstrate it. The DDA saw it working. Then afterwards, they hired Professor Babu to do the same thing in Neela House. And we also did the second one in Vasant Vihar with another NGO. And now you might have heard about the work we're doing on Housecouse Lake, using the same wetlands to clean that up and to get rid of all the smell that used to be there. And this is all, we basically have to raise the funding for all these projects ourselves. And the government always works the same way. They have consultants who have no real experience, but think they're qualified to do the same thing. So now that's what we're seeing is a lot of the areas in Delhi and areas around Delhi, the government's now put all these tenders out for water body revival, and at least the ones they've done so far haven't been very successful, and they spend a lot of money. But the one we're doing in Housecouse Lake is all about involving the community, allowing people to adopt islands. So they come, they make the island, put it on the lake themselves, see all the plants growing. We've had a couple of schools come down and do that, corporates and schools. The children really enjoy that type of thing.
So if somebody hasn't seen, obviously many people wouldn't have seen, and we will show you images of that. And what they've developed is they've been able to revive this wetland at many levels. This floating island's been revived. People are coming around and people come and visit this place more often. It's got a healthy plant life. It's got a healthy, life around that place. And so it really changes. But what the usual government of India model is, if there is 100 rupees in the pond, a lot of times a lot of money gets siphoned out through people they know, and that's one of our India's big challenges, the corruption that eats the system. Now let's get beyond that. Meena, let me come to you and ask you, where do you think is the missing link? What do you think you have been able to achieve so far, and how do you think you can push the envelope further? You obviously work in rural India, but you see there are tremendous challenges in urban India today. As you know, when you go out in a slum, you see people running after these water tankers trying to grab water. How does India fix that? Because water is certainly going to be in very short supply, and you're already saying 40% of India by 2030 is not going to have access to water. How does one fix that?
So, Rohit, I would, there are multiple, areas one needs to work on. Water is a complex issue, and I will just throw light on a couple of them, in our interaction today. And one I would say is people and institutions. So when I say people, I mean each one of us. Each one of us has water coming to our tap, or we are using water on a day-to-day basis. But do we know that we use mostly water for bathing, for cleaning, and many of us really reuse and recycle this water. So really, conservation of this resource begins from our own homes, and therefore that is an important area to work on. It is individuals and each one of us to be water conscious and to respect water as a resource. If we just talk about the rural areas, or if we just talk about the larger picture, in India, we are only storing 8% of the rainwater. So rainwater goes for groundwater replenishment as well. So initiatives which really encourage communities and even small institutions like schools and the gram panchayats to conserve rainwater is only going to increase the groundwater levels and the access and availability of this resource. So really looking at surface-based and subsurface-based water conservation methods is an important way to move forward. I just want to cite, an example like that of Colgate Palmolive India Limited. They've been, working in India for a long time, and in their association to water with Water for People, where I used to work earlier, and we've replenished about 9 million liters of water with the rural communities. That was the kind of initiatives that were promoted, and these have been sustained now by the block level officials as well to promote in other areas. So I think all pilots and focusing on individuals and institutions. And I say institutions because we've got 250,000 plus gram panchayats in India. And these are the major vehicles for implementing the government programs. They are responsible for developing the gram panchayat development plans. And if they start incorporating water safety and security measures each of the gram panchayats in India would be water sufficient in years to come. So the role of local institutions is important. Most of the water we use is for agriculture. So farmer-based institutions, the farming clubs, are important to be able to encourage and promote them for looking at water efficient technologies and agricultural practices. So I think these specific interventions in terms of creating water conscious and communities that respect water and creating institutions that can really support their own gram panchayats to be water sufficient. These are two approaches which really work very well and have shown tremendous amount of success.
So at the end of the day, the population has to realize this is the water they're going to consume, even though your officials may be corrupt, whatever may happen, but we must be able to, at some level, take charge of our own water supply. So the population of India will have to look at its water supply and say, are we going to be responsible with what we have? Will we conserve with what we have? Are we going to help replenish the supply that we have? Or are we going to just, let it away, while it away, and then tomorrow we're sitting empty-handed and there is no water in our hands? So I think that's something the Indian population will have to look at seriously. रमन जी, थोड़ा आप हमारे को बताइए कि जहां पर आप अब एरिया में काम कर रहे हैं, वहां की पॉपुलेशन के पास क्या इतनी अवेयरनेस है, वो समझें कि जो पोल्यूटेंट्स आपकी नदियों में घुस रहे हैं, छोटी नदियों में, उनसे उनकी ही सेहत पर बुरा असर पड़ने वाला है? What I'm asking, Raman, is does this population at the village and the rural level understand that the pollution in the small rivers actually impacts their own health? थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताइए.
देखिए, ये जो गंगा और यमुना का दोआब है, इसमें एक बड़ी पॉपुलेशन रहती है और यहाँ की एक पहचान रही है. जो बुजुर्ग बताते रहे हैं कि पहले अगर किसी के बाल समय से पहले सफेद हो जाते थे, एज नहीं है और बाल सफेद हो गए हैं, तो कहा जाता था कि आप मेरठ, बिजनौर, सहारनपुर, ये गंगा यमुना के दोआब में जाके रहिए. और वो रहता था और उसके 6 महीने में, 1 साल में पुनः बाल काले हो जाते थे. तो ऐसी यहाँ का मीठा पानी, ऐसी यहाँ की क्लाइमेट रही है. लेकिन आज जब से इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन के कारण और जो पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड जिसको जिम्मेदारी दी कि आप पोल्यूशन को रोकेंगे, उस पर चेक एंड बैलेंस करेंगे, आज नेताओं के और अधिकारियों के और इंडस्ट्रीज के बीच का दलाल खाली बन गया है पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड. वो इंडस्ट्री से पैसे लेता है और अपना हिस्सा रख करके बाकी नेताओं को दे देता है. तो ये नदियों की जो हालत है, आज आप समझिए कि जो समाज नदियों के किनारे बसा, पला और विकसित हुआ, आज उस पोल्यूशन के कारण वो वहां से उजड़ने के कगार पर है. यानी कि हम एक दूसरी दुनिया में जा रहे हैं कि एक सभ्यता का विनाश होने के कगार पर है. अब लोग समझ रहे हैं. आप देखिएगा कि जो हिंडन किनारे, कृष्णी किनारे या काली ईस्ट या काली वेस्ट के किनारे के जो गांव, वो लगातार वहां से पीछे हट रहे हैं क्योंकि पोल्यूशन फर्स्ट लेयर को क्रॉस कर चुका है. और अभी एनजीटी ने बहुत ज्यादा दबाव दिया था कि 125 गांव में वाटर टैंक से पानी पहुंचा. लेकिन अगर ओवरहेड वाटर टैंक 200 फीट तक नीचे जाएगा, लेकिन वो पोल्यूशन आने वाले 5 साल में फिर नीचे तक भी पहुंच जाएगा. तो ये कोई स्थायी समाधान नहीं है. स्थायी समाधान है पोल्यूशन को रोकना. देखिए, पोल्यूशन के लिए जो हो रहा है, उसके लिए ना तो सरकार की प्रतिनिधि गंभीर हैं, ना उसके डिपार्टमेंट गंभीर हैं, और समाज उसका भुक्तभोगी है. आज आप देखेंगे, हम बहुत सारे गांव में ऐसे जाते हैं, किसी नदी किनारे के गांव में गए और उसको गले का कैंसर है, तो उससे मिले और 1 हफ्ते बाद वो बेचारा नहीं बच पाता है. ऐसे केसेस हैं कि अगर उस के घर में साफ पानी नहीं है तो उसकी पत्नी उसको छोड़ के चली जाती है. ऐसी दुविधा, ऐसा सिस्टम यहाँ हो गया है कि गांव के गांव खाली हो रहे हैं. लेकिन लोग अब समझ रहे हैं. एक तो पक्ष है नदियों के कारण, इंडस्ट्री के कारण जो पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, लेकिन दूसरा पक्ष एक ये भी है कि जहां ना तो नदी है ना इंडस्ट्री है, लेकिन उन गांवों में भी पोल्यूशन हो रहा है. उसका एक सबसे बड़ा कारण है, आज आप देखिएगा, जो तालाब हैं गांवों के, जो वाटर बॉडीज हैं, वो हाईली पोल्यूटेड होती जा रही हैं. उसका एक सबसे बड़ा कारण है क्योंकि आज गांव के भी प्रत्येक घर में सोडा, साबुन, तेजाब, शैम्पू सब कुछ इस्तेमाल होता है. जो कि अब से 40 साल पहले, 50 साल पहले या 30 साल पहले नहीं था। तो वो जब सब इस्तेमाल होता है तो वो सब पानी के साथ हमारी वाटर बॉडीज में जा रहा है और वाटर बॉडीज उसके कारण से डंप हो रही है। पक्के हो गए तो उनको रिवाइव हर साल नहीं कर पाते। पहले भी एक प्रथा थी मिट्टी निकालने की, लेकिन वो नहीं अब कर पाते तो वो भी डंप हो रही है। तो उस कारण से जो तालाबों का पोल्यूशन है वो भी ग्राउंड वाटर में जा रहा है और गांव-गांव में कैंसर के पेशेंट, जहाँ कोई इंडस्ट्री भी नहीं है, उन गांव में भी कैंसर के पेशेंट और तरह की बीमारियां, हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम है, स्किन डिजीज है और नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन है। और एक सबसे बड़ी समस्या इनफर्टिलिटी की देखी जा रही है। वो पुरुषों में भी है, महिलाओं में भी है और जो पशु हैं उनमें भी है। तो बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स इसको लेकर के चिंतित हैं और समाज एक तरीके से अगर ऐसी ही स्थिति बनी रही तो आने वाला 1 दशक बड़ा कठिन होने वाला है। इस पे बड़े सख्त कदम लेने की जरूरत है। मैं एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देके अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूँ। जॉन एफ कैनेडी जो यूएस के राष्ट्रपति रहे, उनके बेटे हैं कैनेडी जूनियर, रॉबर्ट एफ कैनेडी। उन्होंने हमें एक बार यूएस बुलाया लास्ट ईयर, तो वो हमें पोटोमैक रिवर दिखाने ले गए वाशिंगटन डीसी में। तो वो बड़ी साफ नदी है और भी बहुत सारी नदियां दिखाई दी। तो मैंने उनको पूछा कि आप कैसे इसको देखभाल करते हो, कैसे साफ रखते हो। तो बोले कि रमन, ये नदी आपकी हिंडन जैसी ही थी अब से 30-40 साल पहले। मैं कहा जी आपने किया कैसे फिर? बोले हमारी सरकार ने सख्त नीतियां बनाई और उसको उतनी ही सख्ताई से इम्प्लीमेंट किया और सबसे अच्छी बात यह थी कि समाज ने उसका सहयोग किया। समाज ने उसका विरोध नहीं किया उन नीतियों का। तो हम इसको कर पाए। आज उस नदी में कूड़ा डालने की तो बात दूर है, आप हाथ नहीं धो सकते हैं। तो पानी तो अपने आप में एक उमंग है, उत्साह है। पानी एक कल्चर है, पानी के साथ टूरिज्म है। पानी के पास अगर आप बैठ जाएं तो वैसे ही मन प्रफुल्लित हो जाता है। तो जब वो कर सकते हैं तो हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते? लेकिन इसका एक यही कारण है कि जो पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड है, मुझे तो वही सबसे बड़ा विलन लगता है। उसको तो उसमें आमूल-चूल परिवर्तन करना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो दलाली के अलावा कुछ नहीं कर रहा है। इंडस्ट्री से पैसा लेता है, अपना हिस्सा रख के बाकी हिस्सा नेताओं को पहुंचा देता है। ये यहाँ की
रमन,
सिचुएशन अभी है। जी।
रमन, आप जो बात कर रहे हैं बिल्कुल सही है कि जो नदियों की हालत है बिल्कुल बहुत ही खराब है। मैं कुंभ मेले में गया था। I'd gone for the Kumbh. It is one of India's big festivals that happens every 12 years. I'd gone for the 2012 Kumbh. I was doing a long documentary. The water pollution level was so bad, and every now and then uh, the district commissioner would make sure that the pollution got stopped. He pumped in more fresh water so that at least people could take a bath. But even then, the pollution levels were so bad in the river that it was unbathable. It was chemicals, it was really garbage coming in that river. So if you've taken a river which you call your mother, the Ganga, and you've polluted it to this level, then you can understand what is your ethos and what's your culture. So if you want to maintain your culture, and that's what Raman is also talking about, is that if you really respect your culture and you respect your tradition, then at least you will look after what you describe as your mother. Let me come to you, Tarun. Explain to me, is there one small difference that you would recommend, any change that you would recommend that would be a good start for fixing India's challenges as we go towards 2030 for a better water supply? I think we've lost Tarun there. India's water challenges are something that we need to all be worried about. Anybody who lives there in this country or lives in the Raja region. Tarun, I think you're back. Can you hear me, Tarun?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Is there one thing that you would like to recommend to the government for fixing India's future water crisis as we go towards 2030? Is there that one thing you would like to recommend?
I mean, what India has to really focus on now is recycling its sewage, and the government has to really improve the way it works on these kind of engineering projects. Has to have much more accountability for what gets made, and they have to change the way they work with the tender process and the way they develop solutions for this type of thing, because actually it's all innovative right now, and there's no real methods that they can just copy. They need to actually fund the innovation and develop solutions that are suitable for India.
Absolutely. Going forward, a lot of water gets wasted in industrial projects like building roads. You don't need to be using fresh, clean water, but a lot of it gets used. You need to be using recycled water for road projects, for washing away things when you're building roads. And I think those are processes that have to be put in place. Corruption is not going to work long term, so you better find a fix. Otherwise, you're going to be without water and your population is going to be without water. So as we move forward, India's water crisis is something it's created itself, and the solution's in your hands. You're still 10 years away. There is enough time. So enough about talking about we'll clean the Ganga and we'll clean the Yamuna. Go out and act for it. And as a population, Indian population needs to even understand that they have a responsibility. Thank you for watching this show, and hopefully we will see, a sustained water supply as we move forward. Thank you, all of you, for joining. Meena, Tarun, Raman, I really appreciate you joining the show. Good night and good luck.